God, In-N-Out Burger smells so good. Why, In-N-Out? Why must you taunt me with your delicious fragrances? I will not eat of your burgery goodness, though I would like to. Good morning, everybody. Heading off to work. A little chilly this morning, about 46. And it's kind of cloudy, so it's hiding the sun, but it's been like 70 in the afternoon, so it's worth it. So, of course, the big news is Justin Bieber got arrested for drunk driving. Except that's not the big news. Nobody should give a shit. Nobody should care. Instead, we've got MSNBC correspondents, or talking heads, whatever the hell they call themselves, interrupting a congresswoman during a discussion about the NSA spying and what changes may be ahead, interrupting her to go to a live breaking story about Justin Bieber getting arrested for drunk driving. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think the NSA thing's just a bit more important, a bit more relevant to, I don't know, everyday life than some little rich kid that sings drunk driving. But, and I'm sure it's not just me, I'm sure there's lots and lots and lots of people that feel that way. But the news outlets either cater to that demographic because it gives the views, or they do it for some other bullshit reason. But either way, it's bullshit. I mean, there's also massive riots in Ukraine, and potentially they could be heading towards a civil war. I mean, hopefully it won't get that bad. It's a really complicated issue. And the last interesting news that came out was that there was quite a few tanks headed towards the capital, which, I mean, hopefully we're not going to end up with Ukrainian version of Tiananmen Square. But no, let's talk about Justin Bieber on the news, because why not? You know, and it's funny because people wonder why comedy topical news shows like The Daily Show are so popular. And it's not because they're necessarily the best source of news, because they're a comedy show first and foremost, even though sometimes they do a better job covering the news than some of the major outlets. But it's because they call people out on that bullshit. And, you know, right or left, it doesn't matter. All of the major news agencies pull that same bullshit too. You've got to hunt fairly hard for good news. You can't just rely on one source. And that's one of the things I think is sad, is that a lot of people will pick a source that backs up their views. Like, let's say you're conservative. You pick up on and watch Fox. Let's say you're liberal. You pick up on and watch a liberal news outlet. And if that's all you follow, it just reinforces what you want to hear. It doesn't challenge you to learn anything new. It doesn't expand your worldview. It just parrots what you already believe to be true, whether or not it is. And I'm sorry, that's not a way to be educated. I'm happy to pull my news from a lot of different sources, knowing the biases that are present in all of them. I mean, I love NPR, but, you know, they do allow some bias into their reporting. They try to be very, very unbiased, and for the most part they are. And they're pretty good about letting both sides of the story on. But, you know, NPR is not perfect. No one source is. So what other news sources do I like? I like BBC. BBC America is pretty good. I like the new Al Jazeera America. Seems to be very good so far. Christian Science Monitor. Don't be scared off by the name. They're a very, very good, unbiased news source. One of the best, actually. Their reporting is excellent. They have won a ton of awards for their reporting, and a lot of people, for some reason, stay away from them because of the Christian in the name, and they think that, oh, that means they're biased religious news source, and they're not. They run, I think the requirement by their founder was that they run one non-secular article, but the rest of it is all real news. And like I said, they tend to be a very good source of reporting. And then, of course, you have internet news sources, but, you know, you have to watch out for stuff like that because it's not always fact-checked. Reddit's a good example of this. There's a lot of great posts on Reddit. There's a lot of great news on Reddit. And the community itself fact checks itself. They do a pretty decent job of it, but still, you certainly can't believe everything you read on there. Most blogs I find, traditional ones that are still around, tend to be very biased. I used to love Boing Boing. They always had really good stories, a lot of technology stories. And then, to be honest, even though I'm rather liberal, and conservative in some ways, but rather liberal, just the bias in all of their stories got to be a bit too preachy. It was just too much. For a site that was entertaining and technology-based, it got very, very lifestyle, judgmental, and preachy, and the comment section, which used to be a good source of discourse, stopped being a good source of discourse, and that was disappointing. So, where was I? That's right. I think I was talking about media ridiculousness. Well, the moral of the story is, get your media from as many places as you can. Not to go off on a political media whatever rant.